play bad cop?
Nah. Good cop and bad cop left for the day. I'm a different kind of cop.
I don't want to do your dirty work no more.
We're back, season 2. I really enjoy that intro. I had a lot of fun putting it together. No spoilers mentioned in any of them. I made sure of that. It was really hard creating an intro for 3 shows I've never seen, so I kind of stuck with the first things that we see in the season. So everything else is a mystery. Have no idea. We are talking Sopranos, The Shield, Mad Men. All 3 shows, yeah, like I said, never seen before. I'm really excited. We watched 4 of Mad Men, 3 of Sopranos, 3 of The Shield. Yeah, I'm just my initial. Well, we'll get to that. Mark, back for season 2. We renewed your contract. We got you back here. Big, beautiful man, back again. What? How are you? How was your break? No one knows we had a break. We know we had a break. You should have seen us before we got on call. We were stepping all over each other like we never did this before. But how was your break?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tell you, like it was a while. And what's funny is, popping on, the recorded shows we did, it looked like we had just started doing the individual shows. It was like, oh, like it's still a long way to go. We took off a lot of time.
Yeah, we took a lot of time. Matt, how was your break? Just had a little bit of a trip or vacation or whatever you want to call that, and now you're back. How are you?
Yeah, I mean, it was good. I mean, I had to watch like movies and play video games and stuff. I couldn't just crank out TV shows, so it was a little rusty. It was a little hard getting back to like sitting down and I'm gonna watch 3 TV shows back to back to back. But I'm good. I'm looking forward to chatting with you guys again. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, the grind is on. We changed a little bit, but we kept a lot of things the same as we're doing. We're gonna kind of rank. I'm currently gonna keep the power ranking each week of my current Sopranos because that's the show I'm in charge of. Basically, how I feel like they rank in my like to dislike range, and then some that don't make the list just don't need to be mentioned because they don't mean anything to me at this moment. But yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to first talk about like what we all. I said I've never seen any of these shows. But what is your guys' takes on all these shows? Like, where do they rank among your TV viewing, stuff like that? What do you guys think? Oh, good. No one wants to talk. I'm going to go to Mark first. I'm just going to Mark first because I know how to drive the ship. Let's just drive it.
I mean, listen, before we got on, me and Matt just kept like talking over each other, so I was really scared.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, I'm like, I'll just say I have really not seen like any of the Shield. Like I've seen like the first 2 seasons. I just kind of stopped watching. I bought the DVD set like a while ago and just couldn't really get through it. It was not like I didn't enjoy it. I just kind of just fell off of it. I've seen The Sopranos once, and I'm really curious to see what a rewatch will do. Like when I watched the first time, it wasn't to me, it was kind of like solidly like below like the top tier of TV shows. I'm kind of curious if rewatch would do differently. Although Mad Men, I'm very excited to bring on Mad Men. I think as far as like character work and just kind of, and also just like acting from just like a pound for pound level, I don't think it gets much better than Mad Men. I think it is a bit of a ride because I think sometimes there's not like a really structured plot throughout like from season to season. But I feel like once it really gets going, it becomes maybe one of the more addictive shows I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, Matt, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, Mad Men, that was one that I heard good things after the first season, so I like binged the first season, then I was watching that one week to week to week. I haven't gone back to it since then, so it's going to be interesting to go back and see that. I'm already noticing some things, having seen it the first time around, picking up on little things that they're hinting at in some of these episodes. And then these other 2 shows, I mean, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, we didn't have like this streaming stuff where you can go and catch up on a show. If you weren't there from the beginning, you just had to jump on. So I mean, Sopranos, I jumped on that show at like maybe like the fourth season. So I have never seen like the first 3 seasons of Sopranos. And then The Shield, I pretty much did the same thing. I jumped on like the fifth season, watched it as it went along, and then I went back once like we had access to like DVDs and all these things where I could go back and catch up. So The Shield, I have watched the whole thing. But Sopranos, I think that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I think these are really 3 great shows that I think they're different enough that I think it's going to really be some interesting conversations.
I just to let the audience know, me and Mark are not like some 22-year-old like whippersnappers that have never heard of what DVD stores
I wasn't
were.
saying that for you guys.
No, I know. Mark, Matt is older than us, but like we are not young whippersnappers. Kind of how the show's going to work this season is, like, again, I haven't really ran through this, but like how I watched some of the past episodes back is like where Mark would talk, he would talk through his whole segment, and then we would talk at the end, and then I would talk, and then Matt would, we would, if there's a moment that stands out, like why Mark's describing it or like Matt's describing it, like let's just interject, let's talk about those moments while they're going. So there's no like, hey, recap to what Mark just said. We all watch these shows. We all know if there's a moment that stands. I'm pretty good at it because if something's on my brain, I'm just gonna. That's just me. But yeah, we're gonna just chat it out, talk about it. We'll still do the kill count. We've done our bad guy. Like we realized what we did in the very first season. We kind of jumped the shark. We didn't just like, I don't watch a lot of TV. Mark, you want to watch some TV together? You want to talk? Yeah, what do you want to do? Let's talk about 2 of the greatest shows in television history, Breaking Bad and The Wire. And after it, we're like, fuck, how do we top that shit? Now, we're still doing Sopranos and Mad Men and S.H.I.E.L.D. They're good shows, but like we realized we probably should have staggered a little bit or maybe did a little different. But I think we got a perfect blend of this one where it's going. I don't know anything, but what I've heard, there's not an Oz sitting here. Like what I've heard, like Oz, there's not a bad, like overall, like holy shit, can this show end? Maybe we'll get there. I'm pretty negative most of the time, so we'll see. But
does that mean that we don't have the content of just shitting on a show for like 3
True.
seasons?
True. Oh yeah, what do we do if we don't have an entire shit show? Oh, I'm gonna have to hate one of these shows. It's gonna have to happen. Basically, how the show's gonna work tonight is, and again, order could change depending on like importance and moments and stuff like that. But we're gonna run with the Shield first. Then we're gonna go Mad Men. We had 4 episodes of that, so you're looking through episode 1 through 4. Shield 1 through 3, and Sopranos 1 through 3. And then I don't know what the order next week is. I'll look it up before we start. Yeah, we're going to start with the Shield and how fucked up this show is. Matt, let's walk through. Now, Matt is going to have to recall like a week and a half ago when he watched these shows. So his memory or his notes could be wild. So,
I feel like I got some decent notes, but we'll see.
There we go.
Because this was similar to, I feel like, The Wire in that I probably could start separating it into the different factions for the storyline instead of going scene by scene. But this one here, a lot of the stories kind of intersected. So these first few episodes, we kind of did it that way. So episode 1 starts out with Aceveda, our new police captain for the Farmington precinct of the Los Angeles Police Department. He's giving a nice little speech about the progress that they've made in this new unit here. The barn is the building that they have set up with all these different police. And while this speech is going on, they're kind of intersecting between scenes of Vic and his strike team chasing down a suspect. And, they might have been a little rough with the suspect. I mean, they probably could have been a little bit easier going on him, but hey, results are results.
Early 2000s police brutality was real.
Yeah. It wasn't quite as talked about as it is now.
Body cams didn't exist.
Dutch and Claudette, we see, are now also investigating a murder. We find that a woman has been murdered, so they're investigating this case. And once the sister shows up, we find out that the victim's 8-year-old daughter is missing. So that is going to be kind of their investigation for this episode. We have Aceveda. Oh my goodness, I always have struggled with this. Aceveda and Vic have a meeting with a perp who is firing a complaint of excessive force against Vic. There may have been some pliers involved, maybe not. We don't know. And this is the 4th complaint against Vic that they've had to deal with in the past year. Then we had
past year seems low. We're going to be real. 4 only in the past year seems
well,
very
since
low.
Aceveda's taken over, so we don't know about before then. Then we go over to Dutch, who is hitting on Danny, one of the patrol women in the police station. Of course, Vic and Shane interrupt and start picking on Dutch, as you do. We discover that Vic and Danny have previously hooked up, even though Vic is married.
So,
then
does not have a moral compass, I promise you.
And then we cross over to a member of Vic's team, Terry, who is meeting with Aceveda. We find out that Terry's been reporting to him about Vic's illegal actions, and they're trying to work with justice. Aceveda pretty much kind of wants to get Vic behind bars. He really is not a fan of Vic. I mean, I don't know why, but
Do you have any clue why? You have any clue why you're just not a big fan? I mean, this guy becomes the thing. I'm just going to be honest with you. Shocking. Shocking casting.
I mean, he doesn't have the hair, so I guess that's kind of what they kind of latched on to.
Oh, and I learned real fast. I made this reference, like why was like who they picked for Hank in Breaking Bad. I was like, I get it real quick. He's a little bit on a different level than what Hank would have just killed Heidelberg.
Oh man. So yeah, they're working together to get Vic off the street. We have Claudette asks for Vic to follow up on a lead about the missing girl, and Vic and his team are able to find the victim's husband, a drug addict, who confesses to the murder, and then also says that he sold his daughter to a pedophile for $200. So we have a lead on the missing girl.
I'll just be honest with you. This show started and my jaw was on the floor. I was like, oh, sex trafficking in the first episode. We're not even petty robbery, just murder. No, we're going straight towards this sold to $200 for a guy that likes 7 and 8-year-olds. I was like, oh, okay. Well, this bald dude that I just met that's a psychopath is probably not going to like this very much, without knowing what was happening.
Oh, and I love the line here, too, where the guy's like, why would I do that? And Dutch is like, 'cause you like crack. So Vic and Shane confront the guy who has put the excessive force complaint on them, and miraculously the complaint has dropped. We find out that Vic has friends in high places protecting him as long as he brings in the positive results. And of course, then we see Vic robs a drug dealer in order to get information from an informant. We see Dutch interrogating the guy who we found, the guy who the daughter was sold to. And we get a little bit of a taste. The Dutch is really interesting with the interrogations, where he can kind of really get inside the minds of some of these guys. And we find out that the person who the girl was sold to said the girl was a little bit too young for him, so he traded her to another pedophile for a future prospect.
Yeah, a player to be named later. Yeah, player to be named later. In cash considerations. What the fuck?
I'll give you a draft pick for this player right here.
Yeah, I jumped ahead. I forgot you were already there. But yeah, I traded her basically for $200. It's crazy.
Then we have Terry is kind of getting closer to Vic and the rest of the strike team at a barbecue, and they talk about a bust that they have planned for later on that night. Let me go back to Claudette and Dutch trying to interrogate the next pedophile, but it doesn't quite go as easy. This guy isn't going to crack as much as the crackhead and the previous pedophile. So Aceveda asks Vic to go and help with the interrogation. So I think it's interesting that Aceveda is pretty much so against Vic and his methods.
Yeah.
But when you really need it, he'll like unleash Vic on him. If
Here's
really
the question I have, and that's what was confusing with the story for me. He's so out to get him, and he's putting Terry, is that the guy's name, on the? He's putting him. He's basically using him as an informant on him. But when the moment he needs something, he decides to call on Vic to do it, and then turns off the television of him literally brutalizing. If you want him gone, evidence. You can just wait till he gives you the evidence and then take him in. But it's just like, it's weird. It just didn't feel like. And again, it's a pilot, so they're trying to sell it, and you can't. If you get rid of Vic right away, like, what's the point of the whole show?
Yeah.
But like, it felt inconsistent on that aspect.
I think maybe it might have been just to say that this is the stakes of this particular case. Because like Aceveda, he doesn't like Vic just like beating up random drug dealers and stuff. But in order to help get this little girl,
Stop beating up drug dealers. Pedophiles you can. It's in the handbook. Read page 87. Come on.
Cody, this man bought a child for $200. Like, it's
Yeah.
But yeah, this interrogation, that's where we get the clip from the beginning where we find out that Vic is indeed a different kind of cop. He somehow gets the information out of the perp, maybe with the help of a phone book and some other tools, and he gets the location of the girl, and they go and they do find the girl alive. She was locked up in some closet down in the basement somewhere, but thankfully she was found alive. And then we go to the end of this episode. The strike team is getting ready to mount up. As Cody previously mentioned, they get some Kid Rock to help them get through the door.
15 minutes, all with the ball, bang to bang. I thought about just making that the music and dealing with the copyright strike.
I mean, to be fair, this was 2002,
and it felt like it 100%. And let me tell you, this will not be the last episode that ends in a music montage that ends up happening. Apparently, it's a theme with whatever. But also, before you get there, because you're about to tell it, Terry at that barbecue sits down with fucking crazy bald man Vic and goes, I want to be involved more. I want to do this more. You sound like a narc. Like, you sound like an undercover cop trying to fuck with me.
And he looks like a narc compared to the rest of the strike team, too.
Looks like the guy that has never held a gun. Looks like the guy that walks like in the local pawn shop and goes, "You got any of that extra stuff? Where's your badge?" Like, what? Doesn't look. He comes out of the blue and be like, I can do more. All right. You're gonna do more just for a little bit. It's crazy, wild.
So then, as the strike team is raiding the house, they kind of get through, and then they kill one of the drug dealers. And then you think, hey, they killed the drug dealer, everything's good, the successful raid. But then Vic grabs the drug dealer's gun and shoots Terry in the head. And that is the end of our episode.
There's not even a second guess. He killed that guy, looked at the other guy in the room, grabbed the gun, slowly turned, and just put it right through his face. I was just like, what am I watching? But they do it with a montage of basically like straight Jigsaw-esque, like flashback to how many times you tried to fuck Vic over in the past 30 minutes of this episode to let you die. I was sitting there, I was just like, okay, so this is the shield. They literally told me, Cody, like, what you may think, you won't think. And I was like, you're right. All right. So, yeah, crazy first episode. But could not click episode 2 faster in my entire life. That is something, a pilot you have to have. because I hate when again, I've never been a TV guy. I've been in movies my entire life, so I'm there for 2 hours. I'm ready for it. But when it ends, it ends.
Mm-hmm.
You have to hook me for this entire ride that we're doing, which is like 80 something episodes.
Mm-hmm.
When it first ended, I was just like, but I was like, I put the things through. And again, I think Mark went to, therapy. I think he's talked to himself. Police procedure won't make him like snap and twitch in this season because he hasn't watched this one. But like I was saying, there's a through line with Vic. You can tell what they're going to do, but there's like situational each episode that happens, which I think is going to annoy me at times, but make it like fine. Because I hate when this is my biggest problem. My biggest problem with all these shows is when there's a problem and it gets resolved in the first episode. I'm just like, I understand, but like, I like longer charts. But again, I'm only 3 episodes in. This is the first episode. But that was very good. No kidding me. No kidding. The narc got fucking blasted in the first episode. Zero. Like, I also like the cop dynamic inside the precinct. Like, this play. Where's it? Is it?
Was it Farmington in L.A.?
Okay, L.A. Okay.
Yeah.
It is like this complete like the veteran detective girl sitting over the fucking wisecrack like young detective, him new police court, he has his own task force. He's like, hey, I need that report now. You'll get it when you get it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck what you're telling me. But they did a montage. I want to make this clear. They did a montage to Kid Rock. And it wasn't just them doing a task force, guys. Not a task force. They were like putting a kid to sleep. There was like a lovely like couple moment of eating dinner, and why Kid Rock is blasting.
I mean, in 2002, Kid Rock was the soundtrack for the nation.
It makes perfect sense when they burst through the doors and stuff. Perfect music.
Mm-hmm.
Every other thing, fucking. He's the new police is holding his like little infant baby, and he's just like, like what is happening? But I love it.
Oh man,
Mark, you got anything on episode 1?
I mean, even though they already told us, my main reason for clicking the next episode, I wanted to figure out who put the dog shit in Dutch's desk. Was it Vic?
100%. No, it was that little.
No, yeah, they really hint that it was Claudette that did it. So.
Well, yeah, was it Claudette? Like, who was it?
And then I think even in the ball to the ball thing, doesn't it show her like going home to a dog?
Oh yeah.
I'm just be honest. Whatever dog, that has to be a great day. Yeah. The amount of spit in that desk was astronomical. Like, can you imagine spitting game while this and you're just smelling dog shit in the air? Whoever that like his right hand man is, I don't know. Walton Goggins. That Shane, yeah. That he scooped the shit and put it in there 100%. He looks just like a little pissant this entire time. I love it. I love every bit of it.
All right. So we get to episode 2. Vic calls in the officer down, and we have all the police waiting outside the hospital to see the news. Aceveda finally comes out and lets everyone know they didn't make it. I had to go back to the previous episode and scratch off the one kill and move it to this episode. Horrible for me, but hey, that's the show. Vic says that he's responsible. So you think, oh no, what's going on here? Is Vic going to confess to it? No, Vic's he's a really good talker. He's a very you can see how Vic gets away with all this stuff because he's so charismatic, and he could pretty much just talk his way out of anything. So it shows him talking internal affairs, is going to be interviewing the strike team. Aceveda wants to tell internal affairs about Terry working against Vic, but is told not to by his contact in justice. Then we have Danny, one of the patrol officers, and Julian, her partner, another uniform officer. She tells him that they're going to have to hit the street hard because whenever a cop gets murdered, all the guys out there think that, hey, maybe it's my time to go out there and kill a cop too. No, we got to go and show them who's the
Yeah, let's
boss.
just beat the fuck out of people.
Yeah, let's just
And they get
bust
mad
their
at him
head.
for beating the fuck out. Can we jump ahead? They get mad at him for beating the fuck out of someone when they literally told him that's what to do.
Hey, where did Rodney King happen again?
Well, that was
He
like
kinda
10
had
years
a-
ago.
He kind of had a point. They didn't. Let me tell you, this part of LA did not clean up after that. I promise you. What are we just doing in this show? We just watching the most corrupt cops in every show possible. Terrible people in On, terrible people in The Wire. Hank was up his ass on his ass. He couldn't figure it out in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Sopranos, I don't even know if there's a law
See, next
enforcement.
season we're just gonna have to do like 26 seasons of Law and Order, so we get some good cops up in here.
That's it. There we
go. But yeah, after a few interviews, Internal Affairs clears Vic and the strike team of any wrongdoing. Although Vic is going to have some flashbacks to when Terry first joined the team. Maybe he's feeling a little bit bad about it. I don't know. But he's lifting weights, having flashbacks. We have Dutch and Claudette investigating the street vendor who was shot. And that's where we eventually get the tackling of a suspect into a churro cart that Cody was talking about. The poor churro cart didn't make it. Aceveda is deciding to question Vic with Dutch's assistance. And then they end up deciding to go after the weak link, which is Shane. So they are going to question Shane as well. Vic and the rest of the strike team, minus Shane, follow up on a lead for Claudette. And they find out that the shooting was done by I guess, maybe a teenager, young teenager, as part of a gang initiation. So
that little kid is not a teenager.
Okay, little kid.
Yeah, holy shit, 9?
It was like 2 weeks ago I watched this.
Oh yeah, you're fair. This kid was 9. Now again,
I just got kid.
Could be a dwarf, not sure, but I'm telling you, it looks 9.
So
Like
the police, so the police, they find the initiation and they're about to break it up, but Vic is like, hey, if this kid wants to get his ass beat, let's let him get his ass beat. So the gang members beat up the kid as part of the initiation. Then the police all swarm and get him. Where do we go? All right, and then Claudette is able to trick the kid into confessing for the shooting after she lies about the victim dying. So that's always, it's always interesting when police get to lie during interrogations about stuff like that. So I'm sure that's something we'll get to discuss on more as the show goes on. We have Aceveda nearly break Shane after about 2 hours, but luckily Vic is able to barge in time and pull Shane out of there, because if they kept working on Shane any longer, I think Shane would have cracked.
God. That dude was pissing down his leg.
Oh, yeah. We get Gilroy, who is one of Aceveda's bosses, tells him to back off of the strike team. We find out Gilroy was the one who tipped off Vic about Terry, and he wasn't too happy that Vic, he assumes Vic killed Terry, and kind of get him involved in that. But that's kind of how that situation's going. And Julian, like I said, he's a new cop now, so he's going to go out with all the other cops. They're going to go out to a bar, and they kind of set him up with a girl that he seems kind of a little uncomfortable with. I know he seems kind of, he might be a little bit religious in this episode because he didn't show up to the hospital at the beginning. He said he gave a little prayer for the police officer who was shot, but we'll get more on that as future episodes go. So that's kind of just, second episode here is mostly dealing kind of the fallout of the shooting of Terry, and they did have the one little case. That's kind of the Shield. You'll find out it's kind of got like a story, a B story, and sometimes a little C story, where you get to see growth with the characters and stuff, kind of carry with the overall show things. But a lot of the stuff, at least one of the threads, are usually solved every episode, as Cody said, in a somewhat police procedural manner. But that's episode 2. Does anybody have anything for that?
Just the investigate, like of course, like at this point, like he's pissing down his leg. He's about to tell him everything, and of course, Vic shows up to like right at the moment of time. I don't know if he's just waiting by the door, about to listen in, but like, and again, even if he told him, say he tells him, I think Vic shoots him in the face by the time like he goes, like he's dead. I don't know how can that. The one thing you didn't touch on, like on the first episode, or maybe it was like he's like, uh, who's the female detective? What's her name?
Claudette.
Claudette's like walks in. What about this? Oh no, you can't talk about him. He gives me my insurance. He's got drug dealers. He's got this. Of course, the fucking main person of the thing is like, well, maybe we should like listen to it. Like this guy seems a little shady. You fucking think he's got every crackhead in town under his thumb. He's using pliers on the ones that don't. He gets people to drop cases, and of course, he gets him out of that situation. I think this is also the one where like the main detective or whoever that guy is, I don't know who he is, tells him to basically stand down, like you're not, you don't have a case, like drop it, like leave it alone. And then the male like detective was like, I just wanted you in there as like witness, but I was going to take the fall.
Yeah.
It just, this police force has a lot of fucking issues. And then like Claudette's upset because there's a bunch of cinnamon sugar spilled all over the crime scene because of the guy dashing him into the car. And then one female cop goes, yeah, we got to be rough on everybody. We got to be tough. We got to do all this shit. And then he does it, and he's new. That's how you train him out. We'll figure it out. You fucking just told him to do it. I didn't listen. Personally, hey, stop. Grabs him, chucks him into the wall. Like, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing I do, I don't know how long Vic and Shane have been together, but I don't see how he's carried him along this long. One scene of this here I didn't mention, but I liked is they have the funerals. They kind of go back and forth the funerals between the Terry, the police officer, and then the drug dealer, kind of showing how the different factions are kind of taking care of their own. And I love the part where Shane gets all emotions, like, I didn't know his mom was going to be there. He's definitely the weakest link, but we're going to get to see more of him as we go on.
We didn't know his mom was going to be at the funeral? Where the fuck else is he going to be?
Like if I'm Vic, I'm sending Shane away for a vacation for a few weeks or something.
Shane's getting fucking electroshock. Because these last two episodes were what they were. I'll be honest with you. We're about to get into it. That third episode takes a fucking turn. Like, not in like the Vic story, just off the wall fucking lunacy, in my opinion. We'll see how you all feel. But like, it was going one direction and it went a total different direction.
I don't know what you mean by that.
You don't know what I mean? Did you watch it?
All right.
It's pretty basic, episode. I think it's all Law and Order last week.
You're not the fucking basketball player.
All right. So let's get to episode 3.
Oh, here we are. Sorry.
All right. So we start out the episode. All the police are assigned warrant sweeps to help bring in outstanding warrants, a job that no one really seems too excited about. So while the strike team is sweeping a house, they come across the NBA player who's hanging with some people with some drugs, and he has a gun on him. So they come up with the idea that maybe they will hold him so he misses the game against the Lakers, and maybe the Lakers will get to win. So this might be what Cody was referring to. But yeah, so they're going to kind of, the Vic just happens to look out the window and see there's a little motel apartment thing across the street. So it's like, yeah, we'll just kind of hold him onto him over here. So they're doing that. Meanwhile, we find out that Vic's prostitute informant from one of the earlier episodes was attacked. Vic asked Dutch to kind of take care of it for him and try to find the guy that did it. She's able to identify the guy from the pictures that the police are able to track him down. And when they find him, they find him pretty much naked on his couch, doing some things. And Dutch happens to go in the kitchen and see the refrigerator is padlocked. So he busts that open and finds out that the refrigerator is full of semen, or his children, his babies, as he refers to them.
I didn't see another fridge. I just want that to be on the record, which made me more concerned.
But he
This
had
dude's not
several
eating.
fridges.
This dude wasn't eating. No, there's one fridge. He wasn't eating. He was just whacking.
He doesn't eat the cold foods. It messes
This is
with his
before
mind.
Uber Eats. He's just doing delivery of pizza, I guess.
I mean, that would be crazy to me if he only had a single fridge and like he's just like that and like his food are in the same fridge and he keeps it padlocked. That seems like more psychotic behavior if you're
I
asking.
mean, he might have the food like up in the freezer or something. I don't know. Which seems like where you put the semen, but who knows? So meanwhile, the NBA player's lawyer shows up at the police station looking for him. But Dutch is kind of distracted. He's actually trying to tie up the suspect with 4 prostitute murders. I don't know, maybe Dutch is kind of bored, or he's just he wants to find one of those high profile cases. So he's going to try to attach it to this poor guy. Well, I don't want to say this poor guy, this guy. Shane is getting irritated babysitting the NBA player, especially after Lem helps the guy get a girl to come over for a special visit. Let's see. Vic is going to, it looks like Vic is going and he hears some screaming at a nearby apartment complex and sees a crackhead dangling his son over the complex's pool. Vic tries to calm him down, doesn't work so well. He throws the baby in the pool. Vic jumps in the pool, gets the baby out and saves them both, arresting the man while quietly stealing his crack so he can give it to his informant. Julian, he helps one of the people who got swept up with an erroneous warrant. I guess the warrant was no longer good or something. So Julian looks it up after the guy said that they talked for a little bit, and he said he kind of recognizes him from hanging out outside a place called the Abbey. Aceveda tells Danny that she should take the sergeant's exam, which she says, "You're only saying that because I'm a woman?" Well, he's like, "Hey." Later, she asks Dutch to kind of help her study for it, so that's something she's going to be working on. Shane and the NBA player are really not getting along, and it gets worse. It ends up coming to they ended up getting in a fight when the NBA player tries to leave. Because pretty much this whole time, there's like, "Oh yeah, the police captain just wants to come and see you." And then like hours later, he's still kind of sitting there. He's already had a girl come and go. So he's like, "The game's coming up. I got to go, guys." But yeah, him and Shane get into it. Vic returns to find the NBA player has been tied up. He pulls Shane into the other room and they have a talk. We find out Shane is still being troubled by what they did to Terry. And Vic pretty much tells him, "Terry was killed by the drug dealer. That's the end of discussion. I don't want to talk about this again." Pretty much. So Claudette is able to get the suspect to confess to raping 11 women. She pretty much kind of... Claudette's more of her interrogation. She has more like the empathy. She can kind of like trick someone a little bit more. So she kind of gets the guy thinking that she's going to take on one of his babies. But that's just to get him to confess. And then she ends up giving him a shot to his big balls, which we are so proud of. We see Vic drops off the NBA player at the subway, but it's too late for him to be able to make it to the game. And I believe later on in the radio, you're going to hear that the Lakers did end up winning because he wasn't able to make it to the game. Julian goes to meet the guy that he helped get out of lockup, and they kind of end up hooking up a little bit. So we discover that Julian is kind of maybe not being totally honest about who he is to himself. Vic and his wife visit the son's teacher, and she tells him that she thinks their son may have a learning disorder. And that's kind of the end of the episode, kind of wrapping up all those little storylines. So that's 1, 2, and 3 for The Shield.
Yeah, it definitely went down on the third episode for me overall because it just got goofy.
But not believable.
Yeah, not believable at all. It almost felt like a comedy sketch.
Mhm.
Bookie keeping the player away. Like I just expected like a gag reel to kick in at any point. So it just didn't like hook me as much. It was kind of a letdown, but that's not in a bad way. You can't always have
Yeah.
hits. Like I'm fine with it. And it still had but like the ruthless two cops in the first two that I saw became slapstick comedians, basically keeping them in a room, bringing a woman, have sex with them, like all this stuff. Like so it went down, but overall, I still have fun. I think it was a good
Yeah.
episode.
It's still finding itself.
I mean, where it lost me was this is like 2001, 2002. So this is like in the middle of the Lakers dynasty, and like they're talking like they can't find a way to beat the New Jersey Nets with Kobe and Shaq. Like I don't know what you're talking about. Like this should be an
Yeah.
easy win. Like,
I mean, there might be some New Jersey cops holding Kobe hostage somewhere. We don't know.
I will say you did bring this up earlier. I am really enjoying all the interrogation stuff of like Claudette and Dutch. Like you mentioned, Claudette was able to trick this guy into, although, which was really neat. Although in the first episode, Dutch was able to convince like one of those pedophile guys, like he was like on the edge of becoming a pedophile, which is nuts. Like they're both of them are pretty good in the box.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely have the different styles. So I think that makes them such a great team together. I think that those two is one of my favorite aspects of the show.
Yeah, I do. I again the character actors they have in this show is working really well because it's tonally different with each one. Like if it was just Vic and his group, I think it would just be like I don't know if you guys have seen it. I haven't started watching, but that's one of the gripes from that new show on Netflix, American something.
Primeval or something like that.
But it's like dread on top of dread, apparently, what people are saying. And that can be a lot. Like if he's just being ruthless, beating the other people, but I didn't have like some snarkiness between like the detectives and stuff, I could get kind of lost in the sauce. So no, I'm with it. All right. Take us to the world of advertising in the 1950s, right? 50s, right? 60s?
Yeah, we do start out in the 1950s.
There we go. Oh, yes. But there is a JFK mention, so we're heading to the right point.
Yeah, so like we'll venture into Mad Men. First thing we see, Billy goes, nice fun quote to a Mad Men, a term coined in the late 1950s to describe the advertising executives of Madison Avenue, and at the very end they say they coined it. So Ad Men coined the phrase Mad Men. We start out, we're at a bar, we see our main character Don Draper. He's smoking his cigarette, drinking his drink, and he goes and asks the guy, like, "Hey, like, why are you smoking like these old golds? You can't smoke these Lucky Strikes." He's trying to find some inspiration to kind of change up the advertising strategy for the cigarette brand of Lucky Strike. He isn't really getting anywhere. Thinks he's going to find it with his lady friend who also lives somewhere in New York. He spends the night with her because, you know, as we will come to learn about Mr. Don Draper, he is a bit of a man of the town, so to speak. He keeps many ladies friends like throughout this show. We then enter the offices of Sterling Cooper, the titular company that we're going to spend a lot of time with. We meet a lot of the characters that we're going to be seeing a lot of. We got Peter Campbell, the newly married or about to be newly married guy, Ken Cosgrove, the suave blonde-haired guy, Harry Crane, the kind of dweebish dude with glasses, and Peter Kinsey, like kind of the long weird face guy. Like I just think he has a weird face. They're getting ready for Pete's bachelor party, which is happening that day. We also introduced to the very dynamic-looking Joan Holloway. She is introducing Peggy Olson, who's going to be Don's new secretary, into the office. So it's her first day, and she's getting acquainted. I don't know. Well, she's being introduced to the office, so she's going to be the girl. We're also then shown up to Roger Sterling, who makes his way into it. He's wondering what Don has for the old Lucky Strike meeting. He's not worried that Don may or may not have anything. Don has already kind of said he doesn't really think he has anything. Like he's worried they're gonna think like he's a total fake. And then that's when we meet another guy that we're gonna come to know for the next couple of seasons, Salvatore Romano. He's kind of the main art guy that Don works with. Like they end up getting into a meeting with one of their research people who says that people want to smoke cigarettes because they have this relationship with death. That everybody like loves death and they like to stare it in the face. Don, in the most polite way, says, "I think that's fucking stupid. I don't think anybody wants to think of death when they're smoking cigarettes." Don, like pretty much after that, he throws whatever research that he got in the trash. He ends up having another business meeting with a Jewish department store owner, Rachel Mencken. She wants to discuss new strategies. However, she hears about their plan. She hates them. Don is a bit taken aback. He's doesn't like when people disagree with him and don't like his ideas. So he does what any like rational person do, just storms out of the meeting. So is that. And we then are taken to the probably say the highlight of the episode, so to speak. We're at the Lucky Strike meeting. The moment has come. Don finally has to unveil his new strategy. Like they're like, well, we can't say the cigarettes are healthy anymore. We don't know what to do. And Don's sitting there like a total idiot. Like he just can't figure out what to say. Pete steps in, goes with the death strategy. Of course, the cigarette people fucking hate that. It's like, yeah, we don't want people to think of death. They're smoking cigarettes. That's not cool. And then Don just pulls it out of thin air. Like, you know what? What if we just like completely rebrand how you guys make your cigarettes? Like, how do you make your cigarettes? Like, well, we toast them. There we go. We just say Lucky Strike is toasted. Just tell them it's toasted.
It's that young guy, right? That's sitting there that says, like, hey, we're all gonna die someday, so might as well die smoking Lucky Strike. And the guy comes through and goes, "What? Just like you want us to just battle with our lives? Like, yeah. Like, hey, if you're gonna go, might as well go smoking Lucky Strike." But they're not dangerous. What a life to live. And holy shit, does everybody in this show fucking smoke.
Well, I mean,
it's great.
The health stuff is inconclusive.
Nothing else to do with the 1950s, so I get it.
He just looks so cool. Everybody just looks so. Everybody's like smoking. Everybody also has like their little holders on. If you notice, like that Rachel Mencken, she had like a little holder. It looks so cool. Anyway, after they are celebrating in Don's office, and of course, Don then calls out Pete. Says, "Hey, I know you stole that research from a trash can. I got my eyes on your ass," or whatever he says to him. So they walk out still somewhat enemies at the end of the day.
I love the little line though where Pete's like, "Oh yeah, you should still come out to my bachelor party," and Don's like, "Oh, maybe next time."
What an ass! I'll just go to your next bachelor party, whatever that is.
Like, I would rather do anything but that.
So anyway, yeah, Peggy then makes a move on Don because she thinks that's what he's wanting after what Joan kind of told her earlier. Everybody's looking for, people are looking for a mixture of a wife and a maid, like in their secretaries. Don then reprimands her for it. Says like, yeah, I don't need that. Also, don't let Pete rummage through my garbage again. That would be awesome. We then get a glimpse at what a 50s strip club looked like at Pete's bachelor party. We also saw a bit of a small truth slip out from Salvatore as he's looking around saying like, "Oh, this place is full of men." And he's like, "Oh, I know," like so. Definitely not something that's not going to come back. Of course, Pete's there. He's trying to get lucky at his bachelor party. not so lucky. He just ends up getting the shoulder there. So that's that. Don ends up having dinner with Rachel, trying to make it up to her, and he then gives like a really nice monologue just to kind of tell you who Don Draper really is, the character. Basically, the old "love is a lie" monologue that we could come to expect from good old Donald Draper. She ended up still buying it. She's like, well, I'll come in for the meeting again. Like, you can tell your boss you charmed me. All right. And after Pete's bachelor party, he stumbles to Peggy's apartment, where she does accept his drunken advances. So that is going on as well. We then, immediately after Don gives his whole "love is a lie" monologue, we then see him on a commuter train heading to a big old house with his wife and kids. Where did that come from? That is the end of the episode, which smoke gets in your eyes. I don't know if I said that during the first episode was called "Smoke Gets in Your Eyes." That is the end of it.
Is it this episode that he, at the bachelor party, doesn't he show up at that girl's house?
No,
Was that the second episode?
That was the first episode.
It's at the end of this episode. He shows up.
Did I just totally have like an amnesia? You didn't say anything?
No, he said that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't listen to a word you say. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't hear anything. Yeah. A lot of scumbags in this show. Like, just a lot of scumbags. I guess I don't know what I expect from 1950s New York, but scumbag galore.
Yeah, like the first season of the show, I said McManus is the worst like 50 times. This season, it's all going to be Pete is the worst. About every episode, you're going to hear me say that.
Yeah, he's fucking sucks. That's a little fucker, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole 4 episodes is his. Well, I think it's 2 episodes. We only fucking hear from a little bit, little bastard, because he's gone. But
great episodes.
Yeah, he sucks. He sucks. He reminds me of Percy from fucking Green Mile. Like, I can't stand him.
But yeah, I think this is a great pilot episode. I think it does a really good job of setting up a bunch of the characters and the different character dynamics. I love the Joan and Peggy together stuff, and it's got a classic Don Draper pitch meeting epiphany moment that we're going to see a bunch of those as the seasons go on. And then, of course, it's got the shock ending of, oh my God, he's married. If that doesn't get you to click to the next episode, I mean, I don't know what will.
Like, what are we doing? Like, and have we seen his, like, we've seen his wife? Like, he just has to have it all. Like, she is hot. What a scumbag!
If you're John Hamm, I mean, the women are just going to throw themselves at you.
Yeah, him and that hammer he's got. So, like, I'll be honest with you. When Mark pitched the show, I was kind of dreading the show. Because I was like, how fucking interesting can a fucking advertising smoke session with John Hamm really be? I had my doubts. First episode, I was very LinkedIn. And Elizabeth Moss, I was like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this like situation that we're in? Like, lost a lot of respect for, Peggy. She chose little Pete at the end. That was fucking weird. But I guess she just wanted to like move ahead.
She's new to this.
Him? Whatever. I was like, to be a woman in this day and age, it's gonna be a wild time. And then to be a man, just you have to be the biggest like cocksucker like alive, like most of the time. Like that's just how the show's looking out to be me. But I will say, like, who's the older guy in the
Roger?
Roger?
Yeah.
Listen, give me Roger and Don talking every day, twice. They are just like, I don't care what they're talking about. Could be pointless. Could be anything. I'm here to listen. I enjoy them a lot. Like, it was like that first scene that I clicked was with the thing. Like, it's like the first time you smoked a cigarette. That feeling. Like, that thing is just like, Just something about both of them, and I love the aesthetic. I
Mhm.
love 1950s New York.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like how they made it feel. I like how it hooked me in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was like, after these 4 episodes, I was like, son of a bitch, I'm hooked on Mad Men, which I thought I was going to be like, how do I keep this? How do I keep this anger like towards Mark and be like, this shit sucks? Like, can't say this is a police procedural. So no, I'm in. I'm in. I was hooked. All 4 episodes I thought were really good. So I can't wait. Let's talk about the next one.
All right. All right. We'll just get into it. Next episode, episode number 2, Ladies' Room. We start off Don and Roger having a dinner with their wives. So we get reacclimated that Don is actually a family man. In the middle of the dinner, they make note of Don's mysterious nature, that he's just never talked about his childhood, and like just Betty just stops asking, which seems nuts. Like I can't imagine the marital dynamic where like I just never tell my wife about my childhood, and like she just like, kind of accepts it.
Oh, you mean the marital where he like half the week he doesn't even come home?
So that was
When's
kind of
when's the birthday party? Is it in this episode?
That's the next episode. That's episode 3. Yeah, we're gonna get to that one.
I'll put a pin on that one. What the fuck?
So anyway, we're then show up to work the next morning. They're working on a new campaign for like this spray-on deodorant for right guard. We then meet Bert Cooper as they're roughhousing in there trying to spray some guy on with some spray deodorant, and Bert is there talking to Don about starting a ad campaign for the new presidential candidate Dick Nixon. We're trying to get old Dick Nixon elected president. They decide to take on that campaign. Joan ends up treating Peggy to lunch after she turned down Kinsey's invitation to go to lunch. Although she does end up going with a lot of people from the office, which is like Ken and like I think Harry. There's all those guys. Ken does also make an advance on Peggy. She does turn that down as well. Like a lot of people hitting on Peggy in these first couple of weeks. Like she's got to swat him away at this point. We also I believe we see Betty talking with her friend in her kitchen. They're just having a good old time. Smoking. In their kitchen. One of them's pregnant. I guess we just didn't.
We don't know about that yet. We just found out they were bad.
I can't imagine what these offices and these houses just smell like.
That baby is toasted. That baby is toasted.
They end up talking about a divorced woman who has just moved into the neighborhood. She's driving the kids around, and she notices they're moving in. And something like weird like just starts happening with Betty's hands. She ends up like crashing the car into the yard. Nothing happens to the kids, but she goes to the hospital anyway, gets it checked out. She tells Don about it whenever he comes home, and say, hey, there's nothing physically wrong with me. They told me to go see a psychiatrist, and boy, does Don not like the sound of that. He's like, oh, like these damn doctors, like they just love to they have an answer for I don't know. They're just gonna send you to a head doctor. So then also after that, Don meets with his guys about the strategy for right guard. After that, Kinsey and Peggy do meet up for lunch, and he gives her a nice tour of the office, which seems to go okay. Like I think Peggy thinks she may have found a friend in the office. That's nice.
Friends don't try to bend you over a desk. Hey, can you get that out of the drawer for me? What the hell? Yeah, that's what he was trying to do. Pervert.
I mean, like, listen, it
He
eventually
waited
goes.
till after lunch.
Yeah, like he's like, we'll go on one date, and then after,
This is whining and dining. It's just a
yeah,
lap
like
around the office.
the second date is where we have sex in my office. You know, like he's a classy guy. Anyway, then he's still trying to figure out kind of a new. Dutton is still trying to figure out what to do with this right guard presentation. And it sends him down this weird turn of like, answering the age-old question, like, what do women want? And him and Roger discuss that at length in their office, like over some drinks. And he doesn't know where to go, but it only ultimately leads him down the path that, maybe Betty should see a psychiatrist. Like, we gotta figure out, what's wrong with her, and like, and especially as she's really scared, she could have really, really hurt the kid. So she ends up doing that. After all the stuff that Peggy's gone through, like, she is clearly upset, and Joan notices that she's really upset. She's like, hey, like, what's this deal? Like, all these guys here just want to have sex with me. Like, I can't deal with that. And Joan is like, well, like, you're the new girl. Like, just enjoy it while you're the new girl. Like, it's, it's going to be gone after that, which crazy fucking advice. I mean, that's just, living in the 50s.
Fucking wild. What do you mean? Just take it while you got it. Disgusting.
Oh, anyway. Betty then goes to the psychiatrist, meets with him. She starts talking out all her problems. While she's doing that, Don, he has visited her several times. I think at least one other time throughout the episode. While she's at the doctor, he does visit his mistress. He's a busy guy. He's got needs. Like, just like the way Don rolls. So, they end up having dinner. She seems to be in brighter spirits. She seems to be happier that she got to talk it through. And they go home, and I'm pretty sure you guys have done this before with your wives, where you just call up the doctor and like say, hey, so what's wrong with my wife? Can you give me the lowdown on what you talked about in your psychiatry meeting?
Well, I mean, if I'm paying the doctor, that only makes sense. So
in the 1950s, of course.
Can you tell me what's wrong with her, and like, maybe just not mention it to her? Like, and
let's
then
talk about how fucked up. Let's talk about how fucked up the doctors are in general. Like, wasn't it the first episode where Peggy's getting that birth control pill or whatever?
Oh yeah.
And he literally goes, "Oh, I'll take you off this if you start abusing it." Nothing. No one needs a loose woman. Like, oh, wild. Barely citizens.
So much has changed.
So much has stayed the same.
Oh yeah. So. I think this is probably the weakest of the 4 episodes, but it's still good. There's definitely some really good character moments in here. But yeah, it didn't really have a whole lot to seem to be going on other than just like Betty breaking down and she needs to see a doctor.
I mean, I will just say this before we go on. Like, I am very interested to see, because I think Matt, because Matt, you said you'd seen Mad Men before. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm actually curious to see both, because Cody hasn't seen it. I think you've only seen it the one time. I'm very curious what a rewatch is going to do for our view on Betty Draper, because we talked about last the first season of one of the most notoriously hated TV characters was Skylar White, and I feel like we maybe turned the page a bit on Skylar White. Betty Draper is another one of those characters that's like notoriously hated for people who watch the show. I'm very curious where we end up on that. Like, I definitely have my opinions about the kind of where we've gone through here, just because on its surface, Betty Draper, a very sympathetic character. We'll just start out by saying that. Like, you should feel all the sympathy in the world for Betty Draper. Just on
she does something creepy in one of these 4 episodes that I'm weirded out by still to this day. But that's besides it. Well, I don't know when she babysits, but I'll tell you that part.
We'll get there. Oh my god! I mean, there's not just
Even the
one.
boys, even the little boys in this world are just savages. They're just fucking
Yeah,
scumbags.
I was gonna say there's not
Hey,
just
you leave Glenn alone.
I will not.
like, from that scene. There's not just one nominee for bad guy.
What episode? What episode is that? The next one?
I think it's the fourth one.
I think it's the fourth.
Yeah, next one's
Okay.
the birthday party, then the other's that
Oh.
one. Yeah.
We're going on to a nice trail.
Not honestly, not a lot to cover in this third episode, so we'll get to that mighty quick. Third episode, the marriage of Figaro, or however they say it, and then just sing it or whatever. So we start out. Don's on a train. He isn't recognized by somebody on the train, but they don't recognize him as Don Draper. He says like, "Oh, Dick Whitman, is that you?" And like John doesn't correct him. He's like, "Oh,
he
yeah."
plays along with it.
Yeah, Phil, like I remember you. Yeah, like hey, we should get a drink sometime. Like, which okay, like I mean, I don't know who this Dick Whitman guy is, but like, all right, like just Don was either being really polite or there's something there. We see Pete returning from his honeymoon, and the old office plays the age-old practical joke of getting just a bunch of Chinamen into his office, and like, oh, it would be funny if like there's just some Chinamen in an office.
1950s wild.
Anyway, so like they end up getting
Was the ducks necessary too?
I mean, I think it's a package deal.
2 shows feature ducks. I just want that on the record.
Man, I thought there was chicken, and there was definitely a chicken roaming in the office later.
Oh, was there a chicken? I thought there was a duck.
I mean, they could have had the ducks in there. There was,
I think there was a duck.
Like there could have been like another foul creature, but it was only for a second. Anyway, they're talking about the car ad that they saw, which that would have been a bigger part. I don't know. They're just talking about an ad for while they're in their meeting for their C-Core laxatives. Like they're, they don't know where to go with the C-Core laxatives, and I guess they'll figure it out. We never went back to it. Rachel Menken came by for another meeting. She is a little bit confused because she makes like the pitch that they gave her made it seem like they'd never been to her store. She's like, "Hey, you guys have been to a store, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, we've been to the store." And then Don's like, "These guys haven't gone to your fucking store." Like, well, don't worry, I'll go to your store this afternoon. We'll figure out a strategy. As they're and as they're doing that, there really is a weird flirtatious energy between the two that the entire boardroom noticed. They were not hiding it very well. They then take a tour throughout Rachel's store. Ends up to where they're being very playful. They end up on the roof and they're talking about her dogs and her childhood, and of course they end up kissing and have a really nice moment. And then Don just ruins it by saying he's married. Like I don't like. How do you be like that smooth and just like, oh, I'm married? Like, where did that come from?
Like he has a conscience or something? I don't know. That was weird.
Of course, they have this really awkward moment, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll keep the account there, but like, we probably shouldn't work together again." And he's like, it doesn't work really well because he's all throttled up and. We get to, and it goes into the next day where it's his daughter's birthday party, and he starts it out like any dad on a Saturday morning. Like he's wakes up, has himself a morning brew, puts together a playhouse. Like as he's setting up the playhouse, has no less than like 5 beers while he's setting it up.
Well, I mean, it's still before noon, so yeah.
Yeah,
that's not too bad.
And then people are coming over. He then graduates to some mint juleps. Like also pregnant lady also at the party, also drinking the mint juleps. She's just smoking and drinking. A really progressive gal.
Yeah,
mint's good for babies.
So they're having a good time. Betty does invite The divorced woman, her name's Helen Bishop. Along with her older son, who is Sally's age, Glenn. They seem to be having a good time. Helen is hit on by at least one dad. Dude, pick your spots. I mean, your wife's in like the other room. I don't know what we're doing here. Like, it just like nuts. And while Don is like filming everything, he's got like
he is such a creeper with that camera.
Like, do you just like have to like have your mouth agape while like you're like have like your one eye? Like he's oh yeah, we're getting some good stuff here. Like it just looks really weird. Like this is the technology of the time. Of course, like everybody's talking shit about Helen because like she's divorced. It's like like she hasn't packed everything. She's got a job and she's working at a jewelry store. How hard can it be? The boy's got a wrinkled shirt. How could she let him leave the house with a wrinkled shirt? And like, oh, who's he talking to? Oh, she's talking to Don. Oh, god damn, I know how Don is with the ladies. I better get him out of the house and go get that cake. And Don, like a good husband, goes and gets the cake. And for some reason,
you missed the part where one of the neighbors slapped the shit out of a neighbor's kid for almost knocking a cup over.
Yeah,
well, that cup was knocked over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, fair.
Dumb, Matt. You're gonna get the shit beat out.
That kid should have got slapped.
What? I mean, I think what was crazy is like the dad saw it, act like the good cop. And then when the kid didn't react the way he wanted to, he was like, "What? Do you need another one? Like, what the fuck? Pounding on this kid?" But yeah, then I'm sure you guys like had this moment too, where like you go and do something for your wife, and you drive by your house and think, I think I'll just take another trip around the block. Don must have took 80 trips around the block. He never went home.
He must have drove to Boston. Like,
to be fair, he's driving that thing really good for having been drinking all day long.
That's true.
How drunk is he? Like he had it
gone.
Oh, he's not drunk at all.
Well, no, he's probably built for it.
Yeah.
Like had
his lungs are tarred and his fucking liver is cased over.
He had a couple of mint juleps. He was definitely also throwing back some whiskey drinks. Like he was getting wrecked at his kid's birthday.
And no one drinks water in this entire show. Not 1 ounce of water I've seen. If it's not in coffee or the ice from a whiskey glass, it does not exist.
So, yeah. Anyway, like, the parents of the birthday party didn't realize, Don's probably not.
The guy was like, I know Don Draper ain't going to be no cake. And I'm sitting there like, what do you mean? Wait, he does this on the regular? So she sent the one most the non-responsible human being out of the house to go get a cake because he was flirting, like standing next to another woman.
The person is looking for an escape.
They weren't even actively communicating when she sent them out of the house. And it took this guy 3 hours to go, if I know anything about Donner, he ain't going to bed with that cake.
He's probably parked under a bridge right now.
Like, I want the guy from The Ringer to show up. Like, when the fuck do we get ice cream? Like, what do you mean we're fucking cake? Like, the fuck? They came to a party and we didn't get cake? Also, what the fuck? You pick up the cake the day of the party? Like, no response, no thought process? This is 1950s is a hell zone.
Well, they didn't have room to put a cake in a fridge back then. So.
Right. There was 58 cans of fucking whatever that beer was.
So, yeah, yes.
No, Don. He ain't going back. I'm sitting in the party like, why the fuck did I show up then? What the hell do you mean there's no cake? There's no end to this party until there's a cake.
So anybody got
fucking
a
Betty
cake
ain't started. It's the 1950s. Don't they just have fucking like all the baked
made a cake?
Don ain't been home in an hour. We're gonna bake this cake? No, he'll be here. I trust it. Motherfucker disappears for 3 days of the week. He'll bang other women. What do you mean? You trusted him to go get the cake? He got, and you were worried because he was standing next to a female. He's gonna be driving. He might pass 70 females. He might be gone.
He wouldn't do that on his daughter's birthday. I'm pretty sure he even knows her name.
Yeah.
Walks in. Who the fuck are you? I don't even know you people.
I think it begins with an H. Yeah. So anyway, the divorced woman, Helen, she comes to the rescue and says, "Hey, I got this Sara Lee cake, in the freezer. Like, let me just bring it over. We'll just write Sally's name and some whipped cream, and we'll just give her some candles and call it a night."
Then you got Milton from Office Space just sitting over there. I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna get a slice of that cake."
There's like 15 people, and there's like a personal pan size cake. So anyway, we then go back to Don. He's by some train tracks, which is as good as an alarm as any. Like, the train is definitely going to wake him up. He's just going to take a nap under a bridge. And then, Betty's beside herself. But, Don does eventually return home with the cake, and a dog. And, the kids are all happy. Like, what? Look, Dad brought home a dog again. And she's like, oh,
cut him some slack, Mom. He brought a dog home.
If I'm putting a shotgun in his head. Like, you're not here 4 of the 7 days of the week, and you brought a fucking another thing, and I don't even have working hands right now. Have we learned that in this, or is that next episode?
That is a little bit of both. Yeah.
I will give
when
it to Don.
Drive the car? When does
that
she
was
drive
the second
the car?
episode. Yeah.
Yeah, she drives the fucking car in the thing, and he's like, "My hand's there again." You really need to get that figured out. And now, hey, by the way, I brought you a fucking full-grown fucking lab. Oh, fuck. Don is a fucking psychopath. He just is.
He does think things through, though, because he did think, if I'm just going to show up late, I'm going to show up really, really late when everybody else is gone. That way, we don't have this awkward yelling match at home. She just yells at me.
Yeah, that is true. They're like, no one's like, maybe something happened to him. Should we call somebody or something? It's like, nah. He does this.
Nobody's worried about Don. Everybody's like, yeah, Don did this at the last birthday party. Well, we sent him out for birthday hats. It took him a day and a half to get home.
Yes, anyway. It took 3 episodes, but I think Don might be kind of a dick.
I mean, he's
took you 3 episodes. It took you through. Matt's got a moral compass of a fucking snake in the grass. The moment we found out he had a family, I was like, fucking scumbag.
But he provides for his family. He brings home the
nice
bacon.
House.
You know how much money he makes?
You're right. Mark Menchaca 2025 endorses, if you provide for your family, fuck all the women you want, come and visit your kids every 3-4 days. It doesn't matter.
I mean, I've heard of this whole thing of if they're in a different zip code, it doesn't count.
Oh. Are you married? Are you currently married? I don't think so.
No, I haven't.
I mean, to be fair, he tells the ladies that he's married, so that's really on them at that point.
He's very open.
Matt, 2025, blame the women. Blame the women.
You can't call Don Draper a liar.
Dude, I'm gonna come out of this episode fucking smelling like a bitch.
Okay, well, we'll finish this out. Last episode of Mad Men this week, New Amsterdam, episode number 4. This is where we meet Trudy, Pete's wife, good old Allison Brie. She pops into his office, take Pete out to lunch, but she also wants to show him a new apartment that she just saw, which for the low price of $30,000. But we did find out that Pete only makes $3,000 a year, so that inflation really is a bitch. Like, I mean, hopefully, like that's a rent control apartment. Like, that'd be really sweet if it was. Um, so he's not sure how they can afford it. She then points out, well, we can, ask to borrow some money. So they're gonna go about that throughout this episode. Don does see Rachel at the office. He does, which maybe that was a part of why he just had to clear his head with the birthday cake. He was just too sexed up about Rachel like the whole time. Like that probably had something to do with it. He's still getting over that. Betty also does have like this kind of weird, awkward moment where she's walking the dog, and she does seem to run into Helen's ex-husband. He's just banging at the door at the house, like she won't let him in. And then they end up talking to each other about her old life, and they have, I guess, what seems like a nice enough moment, or maybe they can be friends or whatever. We then go to Pete. He then visits his parents. He says, like, hey, Trudy found an apartment. We're going to need some help with the down payment. Can you help us out? And Pete's dad just like, you know what? I don't think it's a good idea. And like, Pete's like, are you sure? Like, it's for our family. Yeah, I just don't want to, Pete. Like, we're good.
Like, Pete, you're the worst. Get out of my room.
Yeah, fuck you,
like,
Pete.
Yeah, Pete just doesn't have a ton of likability, like even to the people he's related to. Is like just having a tough time. Doesn't tell Trudy that his parents said no, so that'll be a fun surprise later on. They didn't have a meeting with a guy like who's head of Bethlehem Steel. Wasn't aware of that company. I'd never heard of it before. Like I didn't know a ton of different companies sold steel. I guess it makes sense.
Well, that's where when Jesus was born, started the Bethlehem steel market. So
Yeah,
there you go. Little bit of
I wonder if like Jordan
Oh.
Belfort also named this company. Like, this seems like something that was, written on Plymouth Rock.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So they come up with this strategy of like, this city is brought to you by Bethlehem Steel. He's like, it seems like you're advertising the city, and like, which okay. And then like, Don's trying to work him over. Pete's like, no, don't worry, we'll bring you back. And then Don's like, no, I think you can get this. Like, no, we'll bring you back. We'll send you to a Broadway show or whatever. And of course, Don's angry at Pete's like, I feel like I could have gotten the yes. And like Pete's like, let's get him back in the second go around. Like, yeah, well, what do you know? You're not an account man. It's like, well, I got ideas. And then Don's like, yeah, I'm sure you do. Just get out of my face. So Pete there trying to prove himself, and Don, could, give less of a shit. Helen then calls the house. She tries to get Betty to babysit for her. She had, I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure what Helen was doing. She's going out to, do whatever. She asked her to babysit. Betty does end up agreeing. We then head over to Pete and Trudy. They're having dinner with Trudy's parents. She brings up they found an apartment, and she, just flat out asks for the money. The dad agrees to it. Pete is very somewhat against it, doesn't really want to borrow the money. He's willing to ask his parents, doesn't really want to ask her parents. And he's pretty sour about it on the car ride home, but, like, who gives a shit? I'm pretty sure Pete will get over it, whatever.
The worst.
He fucking sucks. Like, god damn. Like, oh, there are characters in my show that I hate way more than Pete, but my god. Are you a Pete? We need to get this established right now. Like, I'm not doing this entire series with you being a fucking Pete defender.
Not yet. I'm just
gonna.
Listen, Pete, I think, is kind of similar to Presbeluski, where Pete is going to be one of those characters that just kind of goes through a really long character progression. He's a total hunk of shit now. Like, there's no defending Pete right now. Like,
You're saying that we will grow to like Pete or understand Pete more.
That, yes, I would say that.
If he goes and becomes like a teacher in like a troubled school, maybe.
So right now, what you're telling us right now, scumbag
Oh yeah, 100%. Like I got nothing.
or United. Okay,
He's the worst. Like yeah, I got.
that might have been a bigger fight than than Omar's death. I'm gonna
Like
be
we
honest
have
with
a guy who murdered his wife and sold his daughter, and I'm still like, which one's gonna be the bad guy of the week? I don't know.
you. That's true. That's true. We're up in the air. We are still currently up in the air.
So, anyway, we get to the big moment. Like Betty comes over to babysit Helen's boy Glenn. They're having what seems to be a regular time. I guess they're just watching some TV show. It's like, all right, excuse me for a moment. She goes to the bathroom, sitting in the bathroom. Kid walks in and then just gives her like the 1,000-yard stare while she's sitting on the toilet. It's like, hey, can you just like get out? And he's just looking at her. It's like, and she has to like do the weird, shuffle over to him. Like, you just get out of here.
By the way, like I know her could have dropped. Her dress was clearly long enough. She didn't even have to waddle. She would have been fine. But to each his own. Whatever you want to do.
Dirty. So.
Anyway, yeah, she
Don,
goes.
Don ain't coming home anyway. It doesn't matter.
She goes over. She scolds Glenn about it. It's like, hey, I don't know why you're staring at me. At the toilet. It's very wrong. Shouldn't do it. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. And he cries. She hugs him. It's like, but you're very pretty. Like you're like really pretty. Can I get like some of your hair? You give me like just a little bit of your hair. And you would think that would be less creepy coming from you like an 8-year-old kid, and it really isn't. Like it is just that scene never really gets easier. I've seen it like 3 times now. I just can't get over it. Just like a little creepy kid asking for a lock of hair.
I pulled out my phone and searched serial killers named Glenn in the 1970s just to see what this kid was up to. Didn't find him.
Yeah.
But Betty is a trooper though. She does give him a lock of her hair, which
fucking wild. Wild. Disgusting. Almost entered the bad guy slate because that's creepy. I'm just no. I was like, there's no fucking way. You might as well just let him stare at you on the shin. What are we doing here? I know your hands don't work, but what the fuck are we doing?
I think she was just happy to get some attention from a guy who's not going to leave her every 20 minutes.
Guy! Fucking child! He's got footy pajamas on. What are we doing? And then she's sitting in bed with the locket of hair. That kid is discovering masturbation tonight. What are we doing? I was like, I literally watched The Shield first, and I watched dog shit and like guy get a shot and everything. I thought this may be the most fucked up thing I've seen in the entire all the episodes.
Oh yeah, yeah, but their relationship will mellow out. I'm sure. Like it just, it just stays at that level. We then go into the more business part. This episode, Pete does take the old Bethlehem Steel guy out for a night on the town. He even pitches him this idea, like, hey, like, what about Bethlehem Steel, the backbone of America? And he's like, hey, Pete, like, I'm trying to get to know this broad. Why don't we just do this business stuff later, okay? And Pete's
already disappointed she's not a redhead, but
Pete a little bit taken aback by that, but they get into the meeting. Don, gives him his pitch of something, small towny, whatever. He's like, I don't know, like, I liked your idea from last night, the backbone of America idea. Like, Pete told me about it last night. I was like, oh, okay, well, like, I guess that works too. We'll work up some art for that for you. All right, sounds great. Love coming to the city. And then Pete's going over is like, see, Don, I got some big bad ideas too. And then Don is like, that's a good point. It's also your last idea. because you're fired. So go pack up your shit and get out of here.
Stood up
Go
and
take a
applauded.
cardboard box and put your stuff in it. Your last day. The fuck? I was so happy. So happy.
Well, he then Don then goes over to Roger Sterling. He's like, "Hey, so that you know, Pete's not coming back." And I was like, "Oh, what did he do?" He's like, "I told this guy about his idea, and while they're out for drinks, like that little scumbag." All right, let's go to Bert's office. As we see the process of going to Bert's office. He doesn't like shoes, which who can blame him? They're walking around like 50s New York, and like there's like just shit and piss everywhere on the sidewalk. I would
Cigarette smoke is fine, but no shoes in my office.
So, they go into Bert's office. He's like, "Hey, like we're gonna lose Pete. Well, that kind of sucks. Like, but we can't fire him though. Because he his mother was some prominent person. They're not rich anymore, but all the rich people do know them. And like I don't want all these rich people talking about how we treated Pete badly because we kind of cut ourselves out of all these highfalutin high society places. Like if we lose Pete Campbell, and like Don was like, well, it's kind of fucking stupid. Can't we just go hire like another guy that who has the right last name who I don't hate? And they were like, "Nah, we can't do that. He's already here. We might as well keep him." Like, all right, whatever. So then Don and Roger walk back over to Pete's office, and Roger is like, "You know what? I wanted you gone. Bert wanted you gone, but Don here, like Don was your soldier. He wanted to keep you. He fought for you. Like you know what? You didn't go to war, so Don is now your commanding officer. You get your orders from him, and you do exactly what he says." And he's like, "All right, I won't let you down, Don." And then Roger, did not like that line at all. It's like, yeah, sounds like a piece of shit, coming from
Pete, who was 10 minutes from jumping out of the window.
Yeah.
That does more or less end off New Amsterdam. Big moment thrown in there kind of in the middle of Pete almost getting fired. I don't remember that happening. I don't remember that happening this early in the show. I thought it happened much later. I'm a little bit surprised to see it here.
Especially when this is he was gone for 2 episodes too.
Yeah. But overall, crazy shit happening in Mad Men that I never thought. But I'm here for it. I'm here for it, but not also here for it. Anything else on this Mad Men before we move on?
No, I think we pretty much covered it.
We spent a lot of time on Glenn asking for that lock of hair. Which is, I'm glad we did.
So somewhere he's just in a closet sniffing that hair right now.
Yeah, friggin' wild. I should reveal my power rankings at the end, right? Of these.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. All right. First, again, this could go really downhill, but let me tell you, I don't know if there's a show more made for Cody Newberry than this show right here. Shame that I waited this long to see it, but basically, the show opens first episode pilot. I've never seen in my history of watching mob movies of a mob boss sitting down with therapy, unless his name is Robert De Niro with Billy Crystal. That's the farthest I've ever seen. But basically, we're going to learn about Tony and what he's going through as his family as the head of a mob boss organization, as he's sitting down with Dr. Jennifer or Malef, whatever.
He has a Melfi.
Melfi. That sounds a lot better than what I said.
Yeah,
That's right.
I like it.
Basically, but he's not there. He's not a mob boss. He's in waste management. Basically, make that a point home. But he is dealing with the overall arcing thing, at least for the first 3 episodes, and probably for the rest of. I don't know how long this goes. He's got some anxiety attacks. He's struggling with all the pressures from everything going on. He kind of says at the beginning, it's pretty interesting. It's kind of a thrill arc that he's like the head of the end of the mob situation. it's been like this going thing throughout. Like everybody has codes and ethics and blah, but it seems like all that's breaking down around him, and it's starting to weigh on him. Got a wife, 2 kids, a crazy fucking mom. But he sits there and he's going through all the situations with that. His wife is also something else, but we'll discuss that. Basically, he's going through the situation where he like it cuts back and forth of what he can tell her and what he can't tell her. Basically, as he is like running this mob organization, but it all starts when he faints at a party, right? His AJ's birthday party, basically, which sends him into this spiral to go see and get help for it. And his obsession with ducks. There's little ducks that come visit him. He has a lot of fun with the ducks. He misses the ducks. He wants the ducks around. But yeah, he's the head of the crime family. Hold on, I wrote these notes and now I'm like trying to all remember where I was going for. His mom is so he lost his father. He's with his mom, and he's trying to convince his mom to go to a retirement community, not a retirement home, a retirement community. She is like off her rocker. She doesn't know, like she is slowly on the decline. She has no thing. And also similar to how Oz was, if you're sensitive of like some cancel culture stuff, this show gives you no, like they don't care at all. Like they just like rip apart every ethnic, just slurs back and forth. It's a wild time of watching these first 3 episodes. But Tony is like describing things that he has ended up doing with in front of the his therapist. He's going to get some coffee, as he describes it, while he hunts down a guy. It's in our intro thing where he hits him with a car, basically trying to get money because he's talking down to him about that there's not really respect for Tony in this age or this community. He's not as fear of a head of a boss as what he is, so no one's taking him really serious. So he's having to take things into his own account. Christopher, is that his? Christopher is his
nephew.
Nephew. Basically, is his second second that you see him riding around with and doing the stuff as it works. Dr. Jennifer basically tells him pretty clear that, hey, as a doctor, like, if you tell me illegal shit, I kind of have to report it. Where Tony like gives her like a look. I'm like, wait a minute, like what? Are you gonna rat on me? No, she's just trying to say. So he's like tiptoeing around the entire situation with her. Tony. Uncle Junior, which is Tony's uncle, wants Tony's friend's restaurant. Tony convinces him to avoid prioritizing the restaurant of his own living. So basically, his uncle, the rival mob, is basically his uncle right now. Uncle Junior is what I'm getting by. Again, you guys have seen the show, can kind of like fill me in on the things that I'm trying to gather. I don't know if this is going to be the case, but Carmela might be worse than Skylar in the history of moms in the show.
Now you got to give her credit though, because she was smart enough to get away from Oz McManus before that thing drove off a cliff, and then she got over here with Tony Soprano. So
that is true. That is true. Does she have that thing? Yeah. Tony doesn't know how to really express it. It's AJ's birthday. And he stops by. The best line in the entire show, or the best line in anything, was he stops by his mom's house to tell her basically, hey, I need you to make sure you have come by, you're making ziti for the party, like bring the ziti. They're at the party. Carmela is like got the priest guy over at the house, like he's this spiritual leader helping him. Grandma just called. She's not coming. She's not coming to the party. And then AJ's response, no fucking ZD? Like, watch your mouth. Like, interesting. They have 2 kids. What's her name?
Meadow.
Meadow. Terrible name. That's why I don't fucking remember. Meadow Soprano is basically like fucking rambunctious teenager, not listening at all. She has at one point like Jimmy and through the priest and her are sitting, and Carmela are sitting on the couch. They hear jingling out of the window. Somebody's trying to break in. Somebody's trying to do this. They pull an AK-47 like out of the fridge or whatever to go like stop. The priest is so fucking confused. Here. I'm missing so much, I know, but my notes are not making any sense to me. As torn to be yeah, what did you guys think of the first episode? I'm missing on so many things, but my notes are not they're all jumbled up. I'll let you guys.
I mean, they had that great moment where old Christopher, spots like a guy that like owes him money, and then like Tony just gets in the car and just like runs the guy down. And then of course, Christopher is like not even like noticing on the guy. He's like, Tony, like you scratched my car. It's like $3,000 of damage. Like Christopher is such a piece of shit. I love.
Yeah,
he
ends up hits him with the car. Basically, sits there. One of the best lines is like, "HMO, you're covered. Like, shut the fuck up and pay me my money." He's sitting there's like $3,000 damage. They end up taking that same guy because we introduced like 2 more characters. Big Pussy is literally one of the guys' names, and Silvio Dante, and Walnuts. Does that sound right? Polly Walnuts. They basically take the same guy they hit with the car and beat the shit out of him, put him on crutches, and like take him to this fucking bridge, or like how he gets out there with everybody. He's like, "Come on out!" Like walking on rocks. Like he's like, "You want to go walk on the rocks?" Like, "No, I'm good." He's like, "Oh, you'll be fine." Like no problem. He's like, "You know what? I'm thinking your work for insurance. I think the scamming of the MRIs and stuff that might be a good idea." I figured you'd think that. Like they just end up like doing the classic mom
I know
thing.
you'd see it our way, like if the guy truck is driving away.
And then I picked up some of my notes. They were mushed together. Jennifer is they're out to dinner, and Tony Soprano is like out there. He goes, "Oh, those things you were telling me about, like those things, they're working. Like they're helping me. They're doing all the stuff I need to. Like no problem whatsoever." And he's like, "Do you know who that is?" He's like, is he one of your? I can't tell you. It's Tony Soprano. And then he's like, "Hey," and then they're like, "Hey, your table's ready." Like Tony already got it all figured out.
Which is 100% an answer too. Is like I can't tell you. Like which. She just would have said no. Like obviously, he stopped and talked to you.
Meadow and Carmela are basically at each other's throats because they're like she's a teenager and mom fucking sucks, so she doesn't want to help him. They're at the dinner and they're talking about it. Carmela's like, "Let me know. And I'm getting my wine ready for you to tell me what like you're about to tell me." It's like, I got what medicine is he on?
Prozac. He's on
Prozac. So happy for you. I'm so proud. Like, that's so good. Like, all this stuff. Like, hey, I'm telling you because I trust you. Anybody else will tell you, get a bullet to the back of the fucking head. Like, it's this quick moment, just like completely gone. Tony, being the good old dad, goes to see Meadow playing
the volleyball, I think. Yeah.
Volleyball or something.
Yeah.
Where's Dad? I don't think you want him here. But dang, the restaurant gets blown up at the end. Basically, that's
it's probably an accident.
Poor Artie.
Yeah,
just trying to get by. Like he just started getting his restaurant going.
Yeah.
Should have taken the
Christopher does kill somebody in this episode, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because him and Bigfoot have to like put it in the car, like hey, like they take care of the car situation.
Which he breaks down like pretty well. It's like, listen, you don't want them to find the body here, because then like, oh, there was a murder, they're gonna investigate it, like they're probably gonna find you. Let's just go, chop him up, just put him somewhere. They won't find him, and they're also thinking like, well, maybe he'll come back. But like, we know he's not gonna come back.
Give him the
Yeah,
hope.
no. And I think it ends with like his mom and Uncle Junior driving to his house.
Yeah,
And
and Uncle
talking about
June. Uncle June very lightly puts it like, maybe I'll have to kill Tony. Like he tells that to his mom.
yeah, fucking crazy. I think that's the first episode. I think I covered all the big points after that first hit.
Yeah.
Anything else I missed that I?
No, I think you got through it all. Yeah, I mean, I go ahead.
I will say just kind of like a thing that I think this was kind of a thing a lot for a couple of HBO shows, and it was a thing for Game of Thrones, where it was a bit of whiplash for me, kind of watching these first couple episodes, because like this pilot episode apparently was shot like a year before they started.
And you
shooting,
can
like,
tell, you can tell Meadow exactly. I thought they recast the character. Because
like,
from episode 1 to episode 2, Meadow looks completely different. I was like, did they recast her? And like, nope, same person, just a year apart. AJ looks like he slimmed down a little bit in the next episode. Like, he doesn't look as chunky.
Like their house looks different. Like the strip club looks completely different. Like,
yeah.
But Silvio's hair, still big. Definitely.
Oh, Silvio, like that guy. That guy, great. Okay, ready for the next one?
Yeah.
46 long. Which I didn't know when I was first watching it, but very funny after like knowing what was happening in this episode. They're all sitting around listening to something on the television. I don't know I don't know the characters that they're talking about, but it's like a former mobster, right? I'm thinking. And then Silvio has to do his like, they pulled me back in. He does it like twice. I don't really know, but like fine, whatever. But I love a sit down with a bunch of mobsters talking about God knows what. Who cares? I also love the theme song. I'm gonna be real honest. Have a lot of fun with it. They're robbing trucks at the beginning of this episode. Christopher and the cop. What a guy. What a truck driver says, hey, you're gonna have to beat the shit out of me so it doesn't look like I was in on this. He punches them when he goes, thank you so much. They beat the living room again.
But you gotta make note though, they're robbing trucks with DVD players, so that means that the Fast and Furious people were fans of The Sopranos.
That's true, man. I watched some commentary on this episode, like each one after I watch it. If I'm going to talk on it, like I just so I don't miss things. And somebody was like, "How much money could that be?" I was like, "Back in that time, those things were expensive as fuck." Like, do you remember when a Blu-ray player came out for the first time? Like they're like $250. Like, what are you talking? Like, yes, they're expensive. Like,
now you can go get a 70-inch TV for like $90.
Exactly. Wild times be like. It may break in 2 weeks, but it'll be there. Then they're all sitting around the family making dinner. Yeah, kitchen looks completely different. Weird. But talking about AJ's teacher's car got robbed or stolen, and then he's like, hey Tony, you can probably do that. He's like, oh, I forgot to tell you, I changed my name from LoJack to Tony Soprano. Like, I don't do that shit. And then he's like, AJ, what's your grade in the class? He goes, D+. I could probably do some, not for that, just to be good. Like, I'm just gonna do this. I'm going back to bed. Then I don't know if we do kill counts in this one or tits count, because there's a lot of tits in this one. Strip club, because I don't believe in the first episode we see the strip club, do we?
I don't think we see the inside of the strip
club.
Yeah, we don't see the inside, but there it is. So they're in there. Is this when Tony's teaching the guy how to use the phone? No,
Yeah.
that's later on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but yeah, he's like trying to teach him how to use the phone. Goes to Christopher and the other guy. What's the other guy's name? The one that Tony clearly does not fucking like at all.
Christopher's friend.
Christopher's friend. Brendan?
Brendan, yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Brendan. Yeah. He's like, well, we can cut him in. Like, I thought we talked about that. Like, that is not happening at all. Like, he doesn't, because he doesn't like he's inconsistent. Like, he's not reliable. Carmela, fucking Tony's mom called. They call the thing. He was like, I talked to you on the phone earlier. Like, no, that was my answering machine. Ooh, fancy. And then sits there and was like, puts down the phone, mushrooms or whatever is on fire. She dumps water on it. Turns out she picks up the phone. Who is this? Like, I was like, Jesus Christ. So she's doing this. She's trying to cook the mushroom. He's like, help. Carmela comes over with the fire department. She's like, hey, you can come stay in my house. He's like, she goes, I know where I'm not welcome. If I just invited you, if you want me to beg, that's different. I was like, oh, this is just prime. I just love how they talk to each other. Let's go. Which it may be a different point, but brings up a moment because Tony's sitting with Dr. What's her name?
Melfi.
Melfi. I might call her Dr. Jennifer. Future episode, just Dr. Jennifer. Easier to get
Dr. J.
Dr. J. Dr. J is sitting there and tells her, like, he's having like a moment where he's flipping out. This may be jumping, but like I wanted to talk about it in this moment because he's like talking about it as like, hey, towards my wife doesn't want my mom like around, like with me, like blah blah, all this stuff. But like Carmela's sitting there, like, is that all for show? You guys think like she doesn't really want her there? Like,
I mean,
or
I don't
Tony's
think
Tony's
like,
putting that in his brain that's like, no.
I'm sure that she would, but does she want to? Maybe for like a week or two, maybe, but not like forever.
I mean, you met his mom, right? Like, she's just the worst. She is a great character. Like the worst person ever. Nothing's ever her fault. Like that's you gotta love people like that, where nothing is ever their fault, and they're just like we're just blaming everybody. And of course, like Tony feels guilty about it. He's got the son thing about it. Like just.
Well, I mean, at least she's a good driver, so.
That like she's really good at distinguishing reverse from drive. Like, knows how to go forward.
Hey, we're jumping. Don't jump ahead. Don't jump. We don't jump ahead on this show. I think the strongest points of this show so far for me is the Dr. Jennifer and Tony scenes. Like, just to see him in that situation is like, you think this little lady, you think this power, like this dynamic. Not to you, to her, she's shut up, don't talk to me. Like, it's like he just like fights it in every step of the way, but she's like, thanks. Or like when he has that dream about that his pecker getting his dick getting ripped off or falling off, and the bird takes away. Bird, yeah, water bird, duck. Duck. It was like he's breaking through a lot of things real fast with her. He ends up hiring somebody, or he brings over. He ends up hiring somebody, an African American woman, which will come into play because she does not like African American women.
She's stealing from me.
She's stealing from me. He's like, I don't want to hear. Blah blah. She's gonna stay here. I'm telling you right now, she's staying forever. I'll go to the courthouse right now and get it signed. Where I'll take power right now. So she's going through that. He ends up having he's having coffee or something. He's like sitting outside with, I think, Uncle Junior and who's the guy who got cancer?
Was it Jackie? I think it was Jackie.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I think it's Jackie.
Jackie. Is Jackie the one with cancer?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Jackie Aprile. That's who it is. Jackie Aprile.
Yeah. I don't fully remember what the conversation they had was.
It,
That's my bad.
Is this with the rabbi and stuff?
no, I think it was they talk about the truck that Christopher stole
Yeah.
because he was working for Junior, and he's saying like Christopher was out of line for stealing that, and so you got to get him to basically pay for stealing all the stuff.
Oh yeah. Basically, his family's overreaching. Like his group is like he's got to get Christopher and the group like back under like because it's pissing because he's fucking with Junior basically.
Yeah.
What did we say? It's walnuts, Wally walnut,
Or Polly, it is called Polly.
Polly
Polly,
walnuts.
yeah,
Yes,
Polly.
okay. So I forgot about this Polly walnuts and Big Pussy. God, that name. I say that the entire time. What's he go by first?
Big.
What's his first?
Yeah,
No,
wait,
shut
wait.
the fuck up. You're such an ass. I gotta find out. I can't just.
I mean, that second name, his
Pussy,
last name is
pussy.
not going to be any easier. Just call him.
It's Big Pussy.
Big puss. Yeah, I'm done. Yeah, I'm not doing that either. Okay. We're here for Big Puss. Just enjoy it. Big Puss. They're going around coffee shops trying to find out, like, they have some insight where it is, and they kind of like a hint at Starbucks. By the way, this reference of just like Goodfellas and Godfather, and like, it's all throughout there. Like, they have, Martin Scorsese shows up at one point. Like, it's just a wild time. But they're going through, they're still on the hunt down. Christopher and Brendan like talk to Tony, and he's like, "Hey, you're gonna have to pay the money back for what the situation was." And Brendan's like, "Hey, no way!" Tony grabs him and launches him into the thing. It's like he's like, 15's too much. I can try to talk to Junior for 10, but you're going to pay the money. Like that's how this scenario works. Like this is but Brendan gets launched. Is so funny. Then one of the funniest moments in this thing, Walnut and Pussy show up at the door to this guy. He's like, knock, knock. And he's like, sedan? And he's like, huh, and they shut the door, punches him in the face. He's like, I need my attorney. I need my attorney. And Pussy puts the gun right in his mouth and goes, I got your Johnny Cochran right here. Like, just like they think they're the cops. Like, dude, nah. You just got the ball. So basically, they pull him to this thing and they see the car, and they're like, why is that car got the same license plate as the one I've been chasing around in my pocket this entire time? I don't know. So here's the deal. You're going to climb over that thing, you're going to get those plates off those cars, and then we're going to go find another sedan while one stays in razor wire, and it's like, go. You got to do it. So ends up getting the car, ends up finding the car for the guy. This is also the episode where Scorsese is at the nightclub. But before that, Tony and Carmela sitting there talking about like, at least she can drive. Like she picks up all these little old ladies and drives them around. Fucking drives through the woman, just fucking drives through, and ends up breaking her own wrist. Like wild, like
Broke her wrist, like broke her hip.
how the fuck is she still driving? She can't cook mushrooms in her own house. She's allowed behind a motor vehicle. Gosh, so she hits this woman, ends up injuring her, and then I love the thing. What happened to the other one? Hip.
You
Great
should have led
moment.
with that one. Like,
Yeah.
she busted a lip. Bruised
And
her
then
wrist.
this is the moment where she's sitting there. She's like, "Hey, you're going to this. We're putting you in this place. Blah blah blah. I'm not going to that. It's the retirement. Come down at me, or I'm going down to the courthouse and putting you in this and getting temporary guardianship, and you're going in anyway." Like he just loses it on her. And he's like, "All right," and then Christopher and Brendan like have a whole overall exchange, like telling him like, "Hey, Tony tells us we gotta stop. Like need to stop. Whatever." Brendan's like, "Fuck that. Tony Soprano. I ain't listening to Tony. Blah blah. Doesn't do anything. Like just blows him off. Like blows off the warning." They go and rob a car, a truck. He basically tells him he's like, "Hey." The guy goes, "Hey, I know the guy. I don't know who he says he knows, but I know." Like, so he's like, "Get the fuck out of the car." He ends up, I'm just gonna get my lunch. He ends up getting in there. I'll tell you, I don't know how much residual checks this motherfucker gets from fucking HBO, but if they need a guy, they call the one guy. I can't. He's Oz, the Y. He's in everything. I don't even know his actor's name.
All right, they got good old Bodie Brada, so J.D. Williams in for his like one appearance in The Sopranos.
Yeah, just loving it, loving life. And then he ends up dropping his gun. It fires. He's like, oh. Who does it hit? The driver. Fucking kills the driver. Fucking he falls over and he's dead. And then and he's like, oh, Tony, Sopranos. Just pissed off where Tony's gonna be. They end up taking his mom to the nursing home. Christopher calls basically to try to get a hold of Tony. Ends up calling him when he gets back to his house. He goes, hey, I need to talk to you outside your house, like get to another line. So he drives and he just melts down on the fucking side of the road because he's like, you motherfuckers, look, you killed somebody. He's like, what you guys are going to do now is you're going to load all these fucking suits back in here. You're going to drop it off in Junior's place. And they go, I don't know what happened, blah, blah, blah. Well, what about the driver? Then you're going to go and light a candle at St. Andrews because it's fucking gone. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, and then fucking Sylvia's like, you think they missed this one? Can I keep this suit? And then Tony goes, why is that, and that not in the truck? So they leave two racks for them to be able to go through. That's why it's 46 long for the thing. And that's how it ends, basically. He goes back to the strip club and
they bring the teacher's car is at the parking lot at the school.
And he does it like painted on his like, and AJ, my dad's a hero.
As he sees the blood on the trunk.
Was it blood or paint?
I thought it was paint because they couldn't find a spatter.
Okay.
Like
I thought, but I mixed, but it could be neither one. But I was like, I don't think they found the right color stamp. They had to paint the car. That's what I thought. It was like.
Oh, that's good.
They dropped a wet painted car off.
Anything on that episode?
I think this episode definitely, I think, is where it like finds itself more so than the first episode, because here all the relationship dynamics really kick off, and anytime you just got Tony just getting frustrated and yelling at somebody, it's just great television. So yeah, definitely, I think this much better than the first episode.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like in this episode, it's more. This is more what the show is.
Yeah.
It's like a thing that like kind of got me, which I didn't mind it, but it was a thing that got me in the first episode where for like half of it, like Tony's narrating over it and which is weird. Like I knew like that's not a thing of the show. Like he never does that. We're just kind of like, there's The Sopranos does weirdly have like this hangout quality of like, we're just kind of like going from spot to spot and kind of, just dealing with like the problem of the day, and then kind of like just going with these characters where we're going to go, like, and just kind of do that, which is fine. Like, I think I was very curious, at least on the rewatch, because I found myself enjoying this a lot more. Like, I just found myself just enjoying the ride of everything that's going on with like Christopher, like fucking up the robberies, and then like Pussy and Paulie like finding this car, like it just silly stuff that like it just like more fun than I remember it being.
And this is from somebody outside looking in because I didn't know basically what it was, but I thought Christopher was like Tony's son in the beginning. Like I didn't know that was just his his what's what I'm looking for, his nephew. So like there's less loyalty in a nephew uncle, like that really in my eyes, like in the mob thing. If it was his son, I don't think it would be that thing. All right, so we're working through all the 12 steps basically. This one's denial, anger, acceptance basically is episode 3. Uncle Junior is like feels disrespected by Tony in the overall situation because he's like by the young gangsters and how that's all going through. Um, the gosh, we just said his name last time. The one with cancer.
Jackie.
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 Jackie. Jackie's got cancer. They're all visiting him in the hospital as he's going through his treatment, which Tony is having a hard time accepting overall. Meadows in concert, like choir, like singing, going through her whole school situation. And Tony gets approached by some rabbis to try to convince their soon to be son-in-law to get a religious divorce because he's abusive, right? Was that correct? Is that what I heard in the thing? Or am I totally off base?
Was he just like trying to take over too much of the business or something?
I thought he was mean. I thought he was mean to her.
Might have been.
I'm honestly not entirely sure exactly what the deal was there. Just know they just wanted him out.
Yeah, there was something about. I thought I heard about like hitting her or whatever. But he agrees to do it as long as he gets a stake inside the hotel business. So he'll end up doing that. He has no issue with that. And then, which we'll find out to be more daunting. They Walnuts and Silvio go and visit him. Not a reasonable human being to talk to. Like he does not take the guidance very well. Doesn't listen to a whole lot of it. Gets pretty angry with them. He ends up getting his head slammed into the thing, which doesn't change a whole lot because he doesn't really listen. As he gets a bell smacked off the top of his head a couple times, and still doesn't really work. Meadow and her friend are in there partying to some flipping music, definitely late 90s music is blaring.
Not Kid Rock.
Not Kid Rock, no ball with the ball. And then they're probably say they're studying for a test, but they're really on the phone chatting it up. What's his name? Tony visits. Holy shit! If I forget this name one more goddamn time, the cancer guy.
Jackie,
and brings a special nurse in for him. That Jackie doesn't understand what's going on at first. Like it's just like basically trying to make him feel somewhat better. There's another tits episode. I guess there'll be more. He's pretty upset about the fact that this guy, like Jackie's, like going through chemo and doing all this stuff. A good guy, and like nothing, like it doesn't do anything. Like he still could die from it. Christopher and Carmela walks in on. Is that Christopher and Meadow in the room?
Oh yeah, there's
yeah, because he went up there to, or did she call him up, or did he go up there?
Well, like a little bit before, Meadow was trying to buy.
Yeah, they went over to try to get the drugs from him,
and
he was like, "No."
Yeah, of course I'm not getting you drugs. Like you're.
And then like, okay, we'll just go down the street and get it. And then Christopher's girlfriend's like, "They're gonna get raped."
yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that.
So he brought her drugs.
Yes. That's it. I was like looking back. I was like, wait a minute. There's party at the Sopranos or whatever. They're all there while Walnuts and Silvio are beating the living shit out of the guy trying to convince him he is not budging whatsoever. Tony ends up getting away from the party with his little mistress that he ends up getting with, and he's like, I've been waiting for this the entire time. Gets a call that he's not listening, he's not breaking, so he's having to go. He shows up, ends up more beating the shit out of him, blah blah blah. Still nothing. So Tony calls the guy and is like, "Hey, this guy ain't budging. Like, I don't know. I've got a pliers next to like bolt cutters next to his dick, and he's willing to die for whatever this is." And he sits there. He's like, "All right, Plan B. All right, Plan B." I believe he's taken out, right? They take him out. They kill him. Is that correct? Is that the plan B?
No.
What happens to him?
I think the plan B was the bolt cutters. They were going to finish off the
Oh, they're just going to do
snip
it.
snip. But I
Okay.
think that was just. I think at that point he kind of like agreed.
Yeah, we
to
don't
what
get
they
into
were
like
saying.
confirmation. Well, okay, yeah, I guess there's no like we
Yeah,
don't see a whole.
he pretty much kind of agreed, but then he ended up making a deal with the rabbi guy to just cut Tony out of it, and that they would smooth stuff over amongst themselves. And
Yeah.
Tony didn't like that.
Yeah, Tony wasn't a fan of that deal. He's like, he very calmly told him, I'd rather we go back to the original agreement where you gave me 25%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He maybe got a little bit angrier than I remember. I could just be misremembered now.
And then Uncle Junior visits his mom in the place, basically just chatting with her. Tony and Carmela go to a concert, a recital or choir concert of Meadows, while Christopher gets basically taken by two guys, beaten up a little bit, and like gonna pull the trigger, and they basically give him a warning, like they pull the trigger, but there's nothing in there. Basically, a scare tactic to let him to know, like, don't fuck around. And then at the end, who's
Christopher's
the
friend.
guy? Christopher's
Yeah.
friend. Is that Brendan?
Yeah.
Brendan.
Yeah. I guess I was confused because he said hi Jack, bye Jack.
Yeah.
So is Jack also Brendan? Because that's Brendan,
Maybe.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is there
Brendan
another
gets shot.
guy?
That might have just
Brendan
been
gets
like a
shot,
nickname or
but he
something. I don't
calls.
know. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know, but
Anyway, he's dead.
somebody
I
somebody
think-
that struggles with names when they said a second one, I was like, "The fuck is this?"
I think he
right.
meant like a hijack, he hijacked the truck. So like I think he's like a little play on words.
Look at yo, smart. Ends up shooting him in the bathtub. Also, fucking weird, just to sleep there, like lay there, like weird, but okay. Didn't even hear him come in. Gun pointed at him. Finally wakes up right when he about to shoot. Yeah, but he dead.
To be
They
fair,
go
he's
back to the
probably on
house.
drugs. So.
That's fair. That's very fair.
Yeah.
Then goes back and so that's the end of that episode. Thoughts overall on the first 3 episodes of The Sopranos?
That's good stuff. I liked in this episode too, Tony kind of like getting obsessed with like the paintings and like seeing stuffs in the paintings that probably aren't really there.
He talks about like Dr. Jennifer's painting. Like, I knew that.
Why you got this trick painting out here?
I know it's fake.
Yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed this. I'm very curious, like where I do remember kind of liking, I think, the first season, I think a bit more than the rest. So I think it's probably gonna lay over. But although I do want to say one thing, I do think it is just kind of funny after just going back and is that tell you like just because I know I've said this before about I think on other shows, but my dad, not a big movie guy, but he loves like this gangster stuff, and like he really likes The Sopranos. I bought him the box set one time, seemed to really like it, and I just although in passing, just kind of as he's watching it, and I think I sat and watched it a little bit with him. I noticed like he just started skipping through, the Dr. Jennifer parts, and I was like, Dad, why are you doing that? It's like, he's like, oh, I don't like the therapist part, so I just skipped through them. It was like, which, like, give my dad that, like he knows what he likes, which I think it's funny just because all the Dr. Jennifer stuff, like we're trying to humanize Tony Soprano a little bit, trying to show you like, oh, like this mob boss, he's dealing with actual problems. Like he's not like just like he's like everybody else. And like there's my dad who's like, yeah, I don't care. I just want to see him do mob stuff. I want to see him like kill people and like smash people's heads open with phones at the strip club. Like I'm good. I don't care if I learn more about Tony Soprano's mental health.
I think that's interesting because I would also be the same way, also of normally, but I think it's so interesting to see that outlook of us like doing that. So I find it very fascinating. I find it more interesting. Um, my power rankings so far of the first 3 episodes. Number 1, AJ Soprano. No fucking ZD. Couldn't have been top. Number 2, Meadow Soprano. What? No social life? Blow me. Silvio Dante, number 3. Big Pussy, number 4. Walnuts is number 5. Tony is 6. He's good. He's going to work. Dr. Jennifer. Those are not the bad ones. This is when I get to the bad ones. 8, 9, 10. Christopher annoys the piss out of me right now. I hope that changes sometime soon, but he really just is that fucking. You ever watch The Departed running coke deals with the jerk off cousin? He reminds me of him. I'm just done. Carmela's 9, can't stand her. Just annoying, nails on a chalkboard, but I like the dynamic. And number 10, with a bullet. If you didn't make the list, doesn't mean you're bad. Just didn't remember. Mom. I'm glad she's in the home and she fucking drove me up the walls. Awful. That's my power rankings. Hopefully we'll see some movement, some shaking. Now, nomination of bad guy. Bad guy of episode 1 of Sopranos, Shield, Mad Men. We're going to go to Mark for his first nomination. Who was your nomination for bad guy? If you would like me to go first, I can go first.
I think you may need to. You
Detective Vic. Bad guy. Shot a guy, point blank, redeemed himself by beating up a pedophile. I will give him that. I pluses on that. But then
He
just the
saved the
torture
baby.
the torture that he gives through everybody is just fucking wild. Like, yeah, bad guy. Bad guy Vic. Vic is my number 1 bad guy of episode 1. I mean, he killed a fellow officer and then made all his buddies lie for it. Wild. Matt, bad guy?
So are we doing that the bad guy has to be like a main character of the
No.
show? Okay.
Any bad guy.
Well, I'm probably going to
Worst
nominate.
bad guy of the show.
I'm probably going to nominate just for this week the guy who killed his wife and sold his daughter to a pedophile for $200.
Oh, you know
Bad
what?
Good guy.
That sounds like a total scumbag. I'm gonna double that one. I'm gonna take that one. That's a good one. That's a real bad guy.
To be fair,
Maybe we
though,
do like
he was
a-
on crack.
Maybe we do a side character bad guy and then like a main guy bad guy, main show bad guy. But
Main
that
cast
one
bad
definitely.
I mean, I was going back and forth between the murderer or the middleman pedophile who is like, hey, I'll give you this little girl if you can get me like, a teenager, next time.
Down the line.
What we will stand for on this show, pedophiles bad. You will not hear us argue that.
Okay.
They're bad.
Automatic bad guys. So
Automatic
in the
bad
future,
guys.
if pedophiles show up in the future, they won't necessarily be in contention.
Of
They're
the
automatically
main
bad.
character that's been appeared in multiple episodes, who's your bad guys of this episode?
Oh, Pete Campbell. That guy.
Okay. We got Pete and Vic. Mark, you can either break the tie or we can have a 3-way tie on the first episode.
I mean, it's just hard not to say Don for me. Like he feels like he's a regular guy for the entire show, and then we find out he's a family. Like, oh, you're a fucking scumbag, are you? Like he turns into a scumbag in that one instant where you find out he's at a family he's neglected for the past 2 days.
I mean, that
All right.
doesn't look great, but when he bails on the birthday party,
That's fun. So the 3 bad guys in the 3 bad guys Hall of Fame, we'll see how many. We need to keep track of how many bad guy nominations these characters get over this course. But we have Pete from Mad Men, we have Don from Mad Men, and we have Vic from The Shield. And surprisingly, from a mobster gangster show that kills people, no bad
all
guys.
good guys.
All good guys. They all pass the test. All wise guys. Works out. We will be back in 2 weeks from the normal time. What is our slate next week?
I know there's another one that's going to be 4 episodes. I think we're alternating them to match up the stuff. Where is our button? All right, so
Found
for
it.
next week, we get
We are doing 3 episodes of Mad Men, episode 5, 6, and 7. We are doing 4 episodes of The Sopranos, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we're doing 3 episodes of The Shield, 4, 5, 6. So then we're on pace. By the way, whoever made this graphic, I think this was Matt. On a few of these weeks it says 6, but they're only 9 episodes.
Yeah, typos.
I was like, what is happening? What are we doing? But it works fine.
The 9 fell over.
So Sopranos will have 4 episodes, and the other 2 will be 3. Join us in 4 weeks total. We'll wrap up season 1. So I think all seasons are 10, 13 episodes, give or take, around that range.
They vary, but that's around the average, yeah.
Around the average. So there's no crazy it'll be a while till we ever
think
do
the most we have is season 3 of The Shield is 15 episodes. But that's the most.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will catch you next time as soon as I find the thing. Bye.
Your turn to play bad cop?
Nah. Good cop and bad cop left for the day. I'm a different kind of cop.
I don't wanna do your dirty work no more.